Hello everybody, my name is Brandon. Welcome back to the channel. I'm here today with my August 2020 media pickups video. So I'm going to talk about all of the media I grabbed last month, excluding, of course, books. I always do a separate book haul, which you know if you've been following the channel this year. And so if you want to know what books I grabbed, definitely check out that book haul video. I picked up a ton, and it was a lot of fun. So check that video out if you're interested. Today, though, I'm going to talk about all of the other media. So we got a video game to talk about. We have Funko Pops to talk about, DVDs, Blu-rays, and of course, some new 4K items. So tons of things to talk about. I will mention that I do have 3 other pickup videos this month, which is just absurd. But I went to the Dollar Tree a ton last month and was just making out like a bandit. So check those videos out. Those items are not going to be featured here at all. So if you want to see everything I grabbed, you would have to watch all of those pickups as well. So I didn't want to include them here just because it would make this video like twice as long as it already is going to be. And as you can already tell, this is going to be a pretty lengthy one. So we got tons to talk about today. So hopefully you guys are excited. You have your cup of coffee or whatever it is that you like to drink, and you are ready to sit back, relax, and listen to all of the junk that I grabbed last month. So without further ado, let's dive right in. So let's start with the Funko Pops that I grabbed last month. And as I always say, I am not a pop collector at all, but there are some of them that I really like, and so I do pick them up as I go. And Barnes & Noble actually had a 2 for $10 sale going on throughout the entire month of August, so I was able to get a 4 from there, and then I have a 5th one that I grabbed from Amazon. I actually pre-ordered this like, I don't even know how many months ago, but it was too cute to pass up, and that is the Child from Star Wars, and this is with the cup. So this is the one I grabbed off of Amazon. It was like $9, I think. Like I said, I pre-ordered this probably, man, I don't even know, 3-4 months ago, whenever it was announced, and the price was really good, so I decided to grab it. So super excited to have this one. Super cute figure, so very happy to have this in my collection. So these next 4 are all from Barnes & Noble. As I mentioned, they were having a 2 for $10 sale, so these were $5 each. And starting with the first one, I'll stick with Star Wars. I ended up grabbing C-3PO, who is just one of my favorite characters. Reading through the original trilogy recently, all the novelizations of that, made me fall even more in love with C-3PO and R2-D2. They are just so enjoyable. Whether you're reading them on the page or watching them on the screen, they're just 2 of my favorites. So C-3PO, which is box number 360. This is Prince Robot the Fourth. So you guys might remember earlier this year, I was able to find most of the saga characters for $3 from Second and Charles. They were on the clearance bin. So the only ones I didn't have was Prince Robot the Fourth, and it was either Lion Cat or Isabel. I just had to look at my collection. It's Lion Cat I don't have. So now I have Prince Robot the Fourth. Now this one is, and like I said, I have no interest in the whatever these are, like the alternates. I don't even know the the term is in my head and I'm just forgetting what it is right now. But this one is an exclusive. This is a 2018 Spring Convention exclusive. So it doesn't look exactly like the back of the box here, or like on the side of the box, but that's fine. I won't, if I find this one, I won't buy it because I have Prince Robot the Fourth in my collection, so I'm totally fine with that. Only need one more to complete my saga collection, so I just need to find the Lion Cat, and I'll be all set. These next 2 figures I'll show together because they're from the same brand, and this was just like an impulse buy while I was there because they were so cheap. But we have probably my favorite Purge movie of, I haven't seen the first Purge yet, but of the ones I've seen, the Purge Election Year was my favorite, and so these are 2 characters from that. We have Big Pig, which is box number 806, and then Betsy Ross, which is box number 810. So looking at the back here, we have a few more to collect. So I need, get that a little bit closer. I need Freak Bride and Waving God, and then Lady Liberty, and I'll have all of them. So this is one that I would really like to complete, just because I think these figures are awesome. This Betsy Ross is probably now one of my favorite in my collection, because I think it's so cool looking. And it's really weighty, too, especially compared to Big Pig. It's just notably heavier, so it just makes it feel like it's more of a value. But again, these 2 will be staying in the box, and I hope to grab the other 3 that I need in order to complete this. So from the Purge Election here, we have Betsy Ross and Big Pig, and those are all of the Funko Pops that I grabbed last month. Again, I don't typically buy these, but when they're that cheap, I'm going to take a look and see what I can find. And fortunately, I was able to find a handful of really cool ones. So let's move on now to the video game I grabbed last month. This was actually a thrift store find. I got this at the Salvation Army, completely random. I don't even really touch my GameCube, and actually I don't even have a GameCube anymore. It's my original Wii that I use as a GameCube, but it's Crash Bandicoot, The Wrath of Cortex. And not only did it come with the game for $2, which the game is actually in fine shape, I'm sure it'll play with no problems, it also came with the memory card, which is awesome. So I thought that was a really good bargain just because it came with the memory card. So even if I don't ever play the game, which it's a good game, so I'm sure I will, but if not, I have the memory card that I can use for my other games. So very cool find at the thrift store rather. So we have Crash Bandicoot, The Wrath of Cortex, and that's the only video game that I ended up grabbing last month. Now let's move on to the items that most of you are here for, and that's the movies. So I'm going to start with my DVDs, then we'll talk Blu-rays, and finally 4K. I will lump these four together because I don't have much to say about them. I specifically bought these ones for my daughter, but these are the Tinkerbell series. So we have Secret of the Wings on DVD. Oh, these are on DVD, obviously. We have Tinkerbell, and the Great Fairy Rescue, and then Tinkerbell Lost Treasure. This one is brand new, and I found it at the thrift store, so that was a really cool find. Now, I wish I could say that I bought all four of these at the thrift store, including... I have a couple more. You know what? Let me just show these. These are Blu-ray, so I'm kind of jumping out of order, but they're part of the same collection. So I have the entire Tinkerbell, all 6 movies. Tinkerbell and the Legend of the Neverbeast, and then finally the Pirate Fairy. So that covers all, whatever this is, 6 movies in the Tinkerbell universe, if I guess, whatever. And like I was about to say, I wish I could tell you I found all of these at the thrift store, so it would be less embarrassing, but nope. I found like 3 of them at the thrift store, and then realized, wow, this is a collection. I could just grab the other 3 and have the full thing. And so that's what I did. I ended up going on eBay and buying all these. Now, mind you, I paid a very, very low amount for all of these, and they're ones that I specifically bought for my daughter. Now I have the entire Tinkerbell collection, so go ahead and think less of me. I wouldn't blame you. I placed these movies sort of in order of where I got them from, so we're talking about Salvation Army now, and next up is Beyond the Mat. So this was just kind of a game-changing documentary for me back when it came out. It looks like this one came out in 2004, which was the year I graduated, and I just remember being so blown away by it. If you are interested in pro wrestling, you've probably already seen this one because it is kind of a classic in that world. But if you haven't, you definitely owe it to yourself to check this one out. Obviously, a lot of the stuff is dated now, but I imagine, when I go back to this, that I'll still enjoy it. It was sold as the documentary or the movie Vince McMahon doesn't want you to see. And so, of course, I was interested in it, and I remember renting it and just loving it. So I found this for, $1 at the thrift store, so I was very happy to have it. So Beyond the Mat, this is the unrated director's cut DVD. You gotta love mid-90s horror movies, especially ones that were given 2 thumbs up by Siskel and Ebert. So this is The Relic, which has Penelope Ann Miller and Tom Sizemore. I've never seen this one before, but I'm sure it's one that will be pretty decent just because of everything about it. I mean, Siskel and Ebert gave it 2 thumbs up. What's to question there? I'm sure it'll be great. This next find was really exciting because I've been wanting to see this movie for a very long time, and that is The Wiz. So this, of course, is Diana Ross, Michael Jackson, Nippy Russell, Ted Ross, Mabel King, just a lot of really popular Motown names in this, and I've never seen it before. I'm not the biggest fan of The Wizard of Oz, but maybe I will enjoy more. So I'm super excited to check this one out. Happy to find it at the thrift store for super cheap. So we got The Wiz. Another completely random one that I found at the thrift store, Sylvester Stallone in Driven. So I watched Sly Stallone for the first time in a good while last month when I watched Cobra, and then I happened to come across this in the store. So it was just serendipitous. I had to pick it up. So not seen this one, but I figured I'd check it out for how cheap it was. This one was one that I picked up for my wife. She has been a big fan of this movie since she was younger, of course, as most people our age can say. It's Spice World. So my sister was also a big fan of this one, and I never liked it. I don't know if I ever sat down and watched it all the way through, but she had it on quite often when she was younger, and it was just always annoying to me. So whatever, it is what it is. One that my wife will enjoy, so it's worth it adding it to the collection. This is another really cool one because it is Star Wars Clone Wars. This is Volume 1. So this is not the regular Star Wars Clone Wars that like the long animated series. This is a much shorter. I think it only went like 1 or 2 seasons or something, and it's a much different animation style than the other Clone Wars series. But this one is a really cool find because it's a little bit more difficult to find. So I wish they had volume 2 there, but unfortunately they only had the first volume. Volume 2 is a little bit more expensive on Amazon, and as far as I can tell, you have to buy it, you know, from a third party. So I wish I would have found both of them, but I'm happy to have this one. So this is one, of course, I can watch it on Disney Plus, or I guess I'm just assuming I can watch it on Disney Plus, but to have it in my collection for $1, I'm gonna do that. So Star Wars Clone Wars Volume 1, really cool find. I love this series. I am so happy to have the first season in my collection now. It is Reno 911, the complete first season. I know you can buy the complete series of this relatively cheap, but it's not going to be any cheaper than what I paid for it. So you can see there. This is just such a hilarious show. I'm excited to watch through this entire first season because I love it so much. So I love Reno 911. Happy to have the complete first season now. I've been falling into like a weird stage of nostalgia lately where it's like movies that I watched either when I was in high school or just leaving high school have kind of been the ones that I've been wanting to rewatch again. Like I watched The Number 23 recently. That one was a bit nostalgic for me. There's a handful of others, but this is another one, and it's Identity, which is a horror thriller from, it's got to be the mid-2000s, I would think. 2003, yeah, so right around that same time. And this is one that I enjoyed the first time I saw it. Obviously, it's one where, like, if you've seen it once, it probably won't hold up on a rewatch, which I won't say why, but if you've seen it, you probably know what I'm talking about. But it's not one I necessarily need to spend a lot of money on to own on Blu-ray, just one I would like to have in the collection to watch when I do want to again. So picked it up for 50 cents, couldn't pass it up. So I grabbed Identity on DVD. And then sometimes nostalgia is a real jackass, and that's the case here. So this is genuinely one of the worst films I'd ever seen. Now, I said that for the longest time, but then I started watching like really bad films. Still, this holds up as being one of the worst, like bigger budget theatrical releases that I've ever seen, and it's Fear.com. This movie was horrendous, but it's one of those that was so bad I need to check it out again. This is one that my friends and I, we still quote this just relentlessly because it's so dumb. There's just, it's just such a bad movie. I don't know why I bought it, but I just wanted to watch it again because it was so bad. So I had to pick it up because it was super cheap. So I ended up grabbing Fear.com. And again, this is from like the early 2000s. This is from like 03, I think. And it's terrible. It is really bad. But I want to check it out again. So if you guys have been following the channel recently, you know that I started a new series where I'm watching through all of the Walt Disney Animation Studios films and then placing them on a tier list, ranking them to see, you know, kind of where they fall for me in the au revoir, or however you say that word, of Disney. And so this is one that was actually the only one that is not on Disney Plus. And so I had to pick it up, and I was able to find it pretty cheap on eBay, so I grabbed it. This is Make Mine Music. So you can see the DVD's not there. That's because it is in my player right over there. I attempted to watch this last night, and if you watch that tier ranking video, you know that I was not a big fan of Fantasia, and this is kind of that same formula, which is just shorts placed over music. And I cannot stay awake for these. I hate this era of Disney. I need to just get these done and move on. So I'm going to try to wrap this up tonight because obviously I'm not counting something as watched if I fell asleep. So I need to go back to it and watch it again because I need to get it done with. It's just, it puts me to sleep. It's not horrendous or anything. It's just boring in my eyes. So whatever. I have it in my collection now because it was the only one in this series that was not on Disney Plus. So Make Mine Music, grabbed it cheap off of eBay. These next two I actually grabbed from Big Lots in my recent trip there. And that first one here is the Bloodlands, which I've heard really good things about this, actually, when I was reading the reviews. Well, maybe not really good. That's kind of a stretch, but good things for a $3 DVD. But I believe, from what I can tell, that this is a home invasion film, which is one of my favorite subgenres of horror. So I had to pick it up. So if you know anything about this, let me know down in the comments. I need to know if I should prioritize this because I think it's one I'm going to enjoy. Next up was another one that had pretty decent reviews on Letterboxd as I was searching at the store, and this is Incident at Ghostland. This has another title to it that I can't quite recall offhand, but it's another one that looks pretty good. This one, I believe, is supernatural. Obviously, Incident in a Ghostland. I imagine it's going to be supernatural, but it sounded pretty interesting, so we'll check it out and see if it's worth it or not. yeah, I guess I don't have much else to say about this one, but it looks decent, so we'll check it out. The last DVD I grabbed might be the one I'm most excited about, which is silly, because it's not a very good movie, but again, the nostalgia bug hit, and I had to have it. Unfortunately, this one is not available on Blu-ray, so I had to pick it up on DVD. This is Pinocchio's Revenge. I remember renting this one when it was new on VHS, and just, it's scaring the ever-loving hell out of me. This is obviously a living dummy, or is it a living dummy or is it not story, which, like I mentioned, is just some of my favorite tales to read or watch. So you can see this is actually the full screen version, but this was a made for TV movie. It was made for like HBO or Showtime or something. It wasn't like a cable made-for-TV movie. It was made for one of those pay channels. And so that is how that's the original aspect ratio for this film, is full screen, 4:3. So that's fine by me. If that's the original aspect ratio, I'm totally cool with it. Usually if it's a full screen movie, I just get rid of it. But in this case, it's the original aspect ratio. So obviously it's the director's intended viewing style. So I'm totally cool with it. Have you guys seen this one? Do you love it? Do you hate it? Let me know down in the comments below. I can't wait to revisit it because it's just so fun from what I remember. So Pinocchio's Revenge is the last DVD I grabbed last month. My Blu-ray stack is the biggest, so let's get to it. These first 5, I guess, here, I actually got from the thrift store. Somebody must have been just like trading in their entire Disney collection, because there was a ton of, and not trading in, just donating their entire Disney collection, because there was a ton of DVDs and there were some Blu-rays. And even though some of these aren't Disney, they kind of fit into that same family theme. So first up, we do have a Disney film, and this is G-Force, and you can see it has the slipcover. It is complete. Everything is in immaculate shape. Awesome find for 50 cents at the thrift store. And then we have Sorcerer's Apprentice, another Disney one. This, of course, a live-action Disney film. Another one has everything included with it, so it has the Blu-ray and the DVD with it that is in excellent shape. And it's a Nicolas Cage film, so I'm not going to pass that up. And then we have another Walt Disney one, The Chronicles of Narnia, Prince Caspian. So I now need to pick up Lion Witch in the Wardrobe, which I think is the first one, and then I forget the name of the other one, but I think there's 3 that were released from the Chronicles of Narnia, so I have to find those as well. But again, complete, in great shape. And then we have Alvin and the Chipmunks, the Squeakquel, which I know these are, most people probably really dislike these, but I really enjoyed the original. I thought it was funny and just fun to watch, so I imagine that the sequel will be just as enjoyable. So had to pick this one up, and again, full, complete, in great shape. And then finally, from that same thrift store for 50 cents each, is Cats and Dogs. So this is one I've not seen, but I imagine that it'll be a good one for my daughter when she reaches the age where she actually sits down and watches a movie, and I'll probably enjoy it as well because it looks cute. So that was a really good find. All of these, again, 50 cents each for some Disney Blu-rays and just some other family Blu-rays. You can't beat that price. I was very happy that I walked into that Salvation Army that day. The last thrift store find was Stone on Blu-ray. I don't know much about this one, but it has a very good cast with De Niro, Mila Jovovich, I forget how to say that. I knew at one point. And then Edward Norton. So we'll see if this one is worth it or not. But look at Edward Norton has like cornrows. So, I mean, that's amazing. So it probably isn't going to be terrible, but we'll see. I've mentioned on the channel that Hostage, I think, with Bruce Willis, is one of the more underrated action films out there. Right alongside it is this one here, which I've owned on DVD forever, but I had to pick it up on Blu-ray, and that is 16 Blocks. Now, this has Mos Def, the rapper, and Bruce Willis, and it is so good. I love this movie so much. Like, Mos Def is amazing in this, and also has David Morse, who... right here, who I'm sure you recognize. But this is just such a fun movie. Basically, Bruce Willis's character is trying to get Mos Def 16 blocks down the road, but he is trying to be killed. If I remember right, it's been quite a while since I've watched it, but I just love this movie when I've seen it in the past, and I cannot wait to revisit it, which I will definitely be doing shortly. So happy to grab this one. I ended up picking this one up off of eBay, and it was brand new, so great one to add to the collection. 16 Blocks. If you haven't seen it, check it out. This next one is another random eBay purchase, and it's just one I want to see, and this is Krampus. And this is directed by Michael Dougherty, who did Trick or Treat, which Trick or Treat is one of my favorite Halloween films ever, one of my favorite horror movies. But I still have not seen any of his other work, and so Krampus is next up on the list. Cannot wait to watch this. Excited to have this one in the collection, mostly because it's directed by a director who I love their previous work of Trick or Treat on, so we'll see how Krampus is. Here's another DVD that I upgraded to Blu-ray. I did that a number of times throughout this week because I was trying to get rid of some old DVDs that I didn't want, and then I want them on Blu-ray. And this is another example of that, and this is The Fourth Kind. There is a scene in this film, this is obviously an alien contact movie, or an alien... yeah, contact movie. And there's just a scene in this film that has stuck with me since the first and only time I watched it. It was just so brutal and unexpected to me that it just threw me for a loop, and I've never forgotten it. So I really want to revisit this one because I loved it so much the first time I saw it. So The Fourth Kind, and this one is just the Blu-ray itself, and you can actually see it is a previously viewed one, but the Blu-ray itself was in great shape, so no concerns there. My wife is a big disaster film fan, and I love them too, like, you know, Day After Tomorrow, even 2012, I really enjoy that. She likes, like, Dante's Peak, Armageddon, all those, and so this fits right in that same genre, and it's Geostorm. So I've not heard a ton of great things about this, but I don't know, we'll check it out. It was cheap at Walmart. This was a $5 Walmart pickup. Unfortunately, this one was supposed to come with the digital copy code on the receipt. It didn't, and everything I've read has said that it takes months and months to actually get it, so it's not even worth it. I wasn't dealing with it. I have the physical copy. That's enough for me. So I'm excited to check this one out. I just think it's going to be one of those fun, stupid, you know, disaster films, and that's exactly what I'm hoping for. I'm not a Steelbook collector anymore, but when something comes around that's this good for this cheap, I'm going to pick it up. So this is Casper, the 25th anniversary edition. So what's really cool about this, I actually took the sticker off, but it actually has 3 feature-length films in it. It has Casper, A Spirited Beginning, and Casper's Scare School. So it has the sequel, or one of the sequels to this as well. And then there are 5 original theatrical cartoons, which are all listed on the back. So not only are you getting just, you know, Casper, which is an awesome movie by itself, you're getting all of these really cool features or special features as well. So for a Steelbook for $15, yeah, I'm going to pick this one up. So it's a really nice looking Steelbook and awesome bonus features with it. So ended up grabbing Casper, which I didn't own previously for whatever reason. The other Steelbook I grabbed was another 25th anniversary edition, and this was from Best Buy, and this is Clueless. So this, of course, is just a 90s gem. Again, nostalgia coming back, and I want to watch it again, and I don't own it. So this was a great way to get it, and this Steelbook is actually really cool. I love the pattern that they chose there. Obviously, you probably have seen Clueless. It's fantastic. It is, of course, a modern, now 25 years modern, but a modern retelling of Emma, and so I've always enjoyed this one. I think it's hilarious. I cannot wait to watch it again. I'm going to go through these 3 rather quickly because they're all similar in kind of what they're doing. So they're all 4 film favorites, and they're all on Blu-ray, and most of these are upgrades from DVD or just finishing collections that I needed to finish. So first up, the only one without a slipcover, unfortunately, is the American Pie 4-movie collection. So you have American Pie, the original, American Pie 2, American Wedding, and then American Reunion. And what's really cool is that this includes the theatrical version and the unrated cut of all 4 of these. So I loved this series when I was younger. Want to check it out again. Again, it falls into that same like era that I've been talking about, that I've been nostalgic for this past month. So it worked out well. So I grabbed all 4 of these on Blu-ray, and then I ended up grabbing the Harold and Kumar set, which also comes with Beer Fest. So this is called the Guys Comedy Collection, which I think is silly because why do you have to be a guy to enjoy these? Obviously, you don't. But this is Harold and Kumar Go to White Castle, Harold and Kumar Escape from Guantanamo Bay, and then A Very Harold and Kumar Christmas. And then outside of that collection, you also have Beer Fest, which I've not seen, but I've heard really good things about. So I love the original Harold and Kumar, and I've actually never seen the sequels. I remember just dying watching Harold and Kumar in theaters. I loved it so much. I think I saw it a couple times while it was in theaters, actually. And I've seen it maybe once since it came out on home video. Again, it's when I owned the DVD forever. I ended up selling it relatively recently, but yeah, I needed to pick it up again because I want to watch through these. So Harold and Kumar collection along with Beer Fest, another 4-movie favorite with the slipcover, which these slips are gorgeous. I love them. And then finally, not a comedy collection, but a series that I'm happy to have on Blu-ray. I love this series so much, the Final Destination series. So we have Final Destination 2, 3, and then The Final Destination, which is the 4th one. And then, of course, I own the Final Destination 5 on, I think I own it on like Blu-ray 3D, which is probably my favorite outside of like 1 and 2. Probably goes like number 2, number 1, and then 5. And then 3 and the Final Destination is the worst one, but that's all right. I think the whole series is fun, and I'm excited to watch through these again. So very happy to have these all on Blu-ray now. I actually did grab another Steelbook. I forgot about this one, but it was from Big Lots, and it is War Dogs. So a $5 Steelbook from Big Lots is a pretty darn good deal. So I don't know much about this, but it is one that I'm excited to dive into when I finally do. Now that I'm talking about this, I feel like I may have already talked about this in my other pickup video. So if I did, I apologize. But if not, I grabbed War Dogs. Same with Pitch Perfect. I think I did show both of these in the last one of my, I think it was my first pickup video. But I grabbed Pitch Perfect 1 and 2. I had the first one, but didn't have the second one. And so I ended up getting the double pack here. So that's a great price for both of them. So have these on Blu-ray now. I know I didn't show these, but these are also Big Lots purchases, which is pretty much this whole stack. But this is a film that I saw it in theaters. Had no idea really what it was about, but was really taken by it. I thought it was just so beautiful. And at the time it came out, it was so different than anything I'd experienced up to that point. It just wasn't at all what I was expecting and was really taken by it. I really enjoyed it. So I don't own it. I think I owned the DVD at one point, but I ended up selling it. And so now I have it on Blu-ray. And for the price, I didn't want to pass it up. So Brokeback Mountain, really do want to visit this one again soon, just because it's been since theaters since I've seen it. And obviously it is, just a very famous movie for what it is and very groundbreaking for the time that it came out. So very excited to have this one in the collection. This was a cheap Blu-ray, a horror Blu-ray at Big Lots, The ABCs of Death. So this is like a short film compilation of 26 different short films, using every letter of the alphabet from A to Z. That's kind of the gimmick that they're going with here. I did start watching this. I think I got like halfway through before I fell asleep years ago when it first came out. It was on Netflix. But I decided to add it to the collection since it was only $3. So I'll give it another shot and see how I like it. This was a really cool find because this is a movie I've been wanting to have in my collection forever. I've never seen it, and it's always talked about as being one of the best Christmas movies ever, and that is Love Actually. And what's really cool about this Blu-ray is that it also comes with, it's like the 10th anniversary edition, so it comes with this ornament, this Love Actually Christmas ornament, which is just ridiculous and awesome for the $5 I paid. So I will finally get to watch this one this Christmas and see how it is. So Love Actually on Blu-ray with a Christmas ornament. How could you pass that up? This next stack of movies here are all from Disc Replay, so these were all bought secondhand. First up, we have The Post. I put a tweet out when I ended up watching All the President's Men, asking, hey, are there any other movies that treat the media kind of how All the President's Men does? Because it just makes you feel like the media, or being a newspaper writer in a specific time, had such an impact on the world around you where it doesn't really today. And so I wanted to check out some more like that. And my buddy recommended The Post to me, saying how good it was. So I imagine it's going to be great. It has Meryl Streep and Tom Hanks.
Come on.
So I can't wait to check this one out. So I grabbed The Post. This is one I grabbed, again, because of the director. I've not heard a ton about this, and it's very divisive. Some people love it, some people hate it, but it's directed by Gore Verbinski, who did the Ring remake, which I loved way back when, and so I wanted to check it out. This is A Cure for Wellness. I don't know of any other films that Gore Verbinski has done other than The Ring, so I want to see how this one is, see if it's any good or not. It looks pretty interesting, so we'll check out A Cure for Wellness. This next one is another upgrade from DVD, and it was one I was shocked to realize I didn't have on Blu-ray, but it is Rob Zombie's House of a Thousand Corpses. So I now own all of the Firefight trilogy on at least Blu-ray. I have the 4K release of Three from Hell, which I haven't watched yet, which I need to, but maybe I'll watch through the first two and then go to that one. These are just... I was such a fan of horror in this time. I mean, they call it like the I don't know if this is a politically correct term anymore, but like the torture porn genre of horror. That's really what was my coming of age into the horror genre. And I love movies from that time. And this is one of those. And then I think, he does it even better in Devil's Rejects. And now I need to check out how Three from Hell is to see how that is. But I don't know. I really enjoyed this one when I've watched it in the past. I've seen this probably 5-6 times now, maybe not that many, but I've seen it quite a bit, so I know it pretty well. I am just excited to have this one on Blu-ray now and just watch it again for what will feel like the first time, hopefully. So, House of a Thousand Corpses on Blu-ray. I know this is a very unpopular opinion, but I love Shia LaBeouf. He is one of my favorites, and my sister would be clapping right now because that's like her favorite actor of all time. But one that I love from him is Disturbia. So I was a big fan of Shia LaBeouf ever since Even Stevens. That's where I first learned about him, obviously, as most people did. And yeah, I just loved him ever since then. And then Disturbia came out, and I liked him even more. Like, I think he's a fantastic actor, and Disturbia is a wonderful Rear Window retelling. I love this movie. Again, you'll notice this has to be from like, this is from 2007. So again, right between that like high school years and undergrad years for me. It just is that spot right now. I don't know why, but it's just really, what I'm looking for. And that's what this fits. So Disturbia from 2007. Like, I'm just realizing how many movies I bought from the mid-2000s this month. And this is another one. This came out in 2004, which again, the year I graduated, and it just hit me in all the feels, like, obviously, right? Like, I'm so stereotypical of that era. But this is Garden State, the Zach Braff. I think he wrote and directed this, maybe? I don't remember exactly. Yeah, written and directed by Zach Braff. So this was just such a wonderful movie when it came out. I've only watched it one time since it came out, but I loved it. And that soundtrack, oh my God, that soundtrack. That soundtrack was like the summer of, I think it was like the summer of 2005 when I listened to the hell out of that soundtrack. I was studying abroad in Russia for a month, and it got me through it. Like, it was just the music to that that study abroad program that I went on in Moscow, and it was amazing. So happy to have this one on Blu-ray now. Cannot wait to check it out again. It's a good movie that I know most people probably look back on and probably laugh at this point, but I want to see if it holds up, so I had to grab it again. Garden State from 2004. This was by far the coolest find at Disc Replay. Like, when I find this company's releases secondhand, I'm just so excited. And we have, from the Criterion Collection, The Night Porter. So this one was released in 1974, and it is spine number 59. And this is the Blu-ray version of The Night Porter, and it does have the booklet with it as well. This was a really good deal. It was like, it was cheap too. I want to say I paid like $10 to $12 for it. Maybe that. I don't even remember. But yeah, very happy to add this to my collection. I've heard a lot about this one, and so I want to see it. It's just one of those kind of weird dramas from back then. I believe it's like this woman meets up with this SS officer that she actually had a sexual relationship with back when she was a prisoner. And so it kind of goes weird from there. I don't know. I don't know too much about it, but it should be one that I check out very soon. So we'll see how The Night Porter is. But again, this is The Night Porter from the Criterion Collection, found used from 1974, spine number 59. Very cool find, and my last one from Disc Replay. 3 more Blu-rays to talk about, and these are all TV series. So the first one I'll talk about was one that actually my wife grabbed, and this is the Vampire Diaries, the complete series. Now, I'll admit, I'm not a big fan of the series. It has very attractive people in it, so when my wife puts it on, I'm not mad about it, but I don't really care for the story all that much. But this set actually contains all 8 seasons of it in one collection. And you'll notice here, it has these markings down here, which is this one's from the Irish film classification. I think this is just the UK one. And that's because this is technically it's region B, but it's not because it's region free. But obviously it's from overseas. And so she's very happy to have this now in a complete set on Blu-ray. So, The Vampire Diaries, the complete series. This is one I grabbed off of Amazon. I think it was like $13 or so, but it's one I've wanted to see. It is the complete series of Swamp Thing. So I'm at the point in my TV collecting that I want to have the complete series, or I just want to get rid of it, or at least know that I'm attempting to get the complete series, like Twilight Zone. I have the first 3 seasons on Blu-ray. I will definitely get the final 2, so I have that complete. But this one comes all in one package, and it's the complete series of Swamp Thing. Unfortunately, why it's the complete series is because it was canceled after the first season, but I don't know. I've heard really good things about it. The reviews for it were very, very strong, so I figure I will probably enjoy it. So another DC TV series added to my TV collection on Blu-ray. This next find is probably the bargain of this haul because it was a price error, it turns out, on Best Buy. If you were lucky enough to find it, you could have gotten Gotham, the complete series, so all 5 seasons of the show, for $25 on Blu-ray. That's absurd. So this is normally like, it was like $90 normally or something, and it was supposed to be $25 off. But because of the price error, it got marked down to $25. So typically I miss out on these. Like, I always miss out on price errors, but this one I was lucky enough to grab. And my sister, actually, I told her about it, and she was lucky enough to get it as well. She's a big fan of the series. I've not watched any of it, but for 25 bucks, I'm not passing up on it. And I'm very glad I didn't, because I didn't realize it was a price error until the next day when it went back up in price. So very cool find for 25 bucks. Very lucky find for 25 bucks. So let me know if this is a series that's worth my time. Hopefully it will be. I'm sure I'll get to it eventually, but should I put this up on the top of my TV list? Let me know down in the comments below. I grabbed Gotham, the complete series, and again, 25 bucks for 5 series. Crazy. Thank you guys for hanging in there. It is now time for the 4K movies I grabbed last month. And first up, this was a very cheap one, like $7.96 from Walmart. This is Mayhem, and it has Steven Yeun in it and Samara Weaving, who are both awesome. So I've heard very bad things about this movie, but that's okay. It was an $8 4K disc. Now you'll notice the reason it's an $8 4K disc is because it doesn't have any HDR or anything like that. It's basically the Blu-ray but put on a 4K disc. So whatever, it's still, you know, $8 for it. It's very cheap, and it has a slipcover, so it's cool with me. We'll check this one out very soon. So this is Mayhem. These next 4 I actually grabbed from Disc Replay, so I got these ones used. First up is Assassin's Creed on 4K. Now, I am not a big fan of this video game series at all. I think I've played Assassin's Creed 4 Black Flag the most, and I put maybe 2 hours into that one. So I can't say I'm a huge fan of the series, but I want to check out the movie, and mostly I grabbed it because it was a $6 4K Blu-ray, and this one does have HDR, as you can see on the back there. So I hope this one's worth it. You know, I've heard kind of decent things about it, so I'm thinking it'll probably be pretty good. For the price, I imagine it'll be worthwhile, so I grabbed Assassin's Creed. Back when I was collecting DVDs, before I really got into Blu-rays, which, mind you, I did adopt Blu-rays relatively early. You know, I started, maybe not, I guess. It took me about 3 years to really get into Blu-rays, because I think they started releasing in 2006. I really started collecting them in about 2009 when I started grad school, so I guess it took me a few years, but that was more of a money thing than anything else. And so this was a DVD that I watched back then that finally hit me how poor the quality can be on some DVDs. And this was the absolute worst quality DVD I owned, and that is for Unforgiven. So I now have the 4K release of it, and I am so excited to revisit this one. This is just a wonderful, wonderful Western that I love to death. Clint Eastwood is fantastic in this. This is basically his Man with No Name trilogy character, but kind of grown up. That's how I always hear it explained. I know when I watched it, I never would have picked up on that because I had not seen the Man with No Name trilogy at that point. I loved it, even not knowing that coming into it. It's just such a moving and powerful Western that it was awesome. And so I'm excited to actually see this in good quality on 4K, just to see how it compares to that atrocious DVD version I had way back when. So Unforgiven on 4K. I'm really happy about these next 2 because not only do they have slipcovers, but they were so cheap for brand new, well, new-ish 4K releases. First up is Scoob. So this one, when I bought this, Scoob had been out on Blu-ray for 4K for like maybe 3 weeks at that point. So very happy to find this one for $10 on 4K. I've not seen this one yet, but it is one that one of the rare ones that I'll be able to watch with my wife because she's obviously a big Scooby-Doo fan, as am I. Looking forward to this one. Heard pretty good things about it, so I'm hoping I'll enjoy it. And then my second one with the slipcase from Disc Replay, my last one from Disc Replay. So happy I waited to grab this one because I found it for $10. Birds of Prey. What is this? So, Birds of Prey and the Fantabulous Emancipation of One Harley Quinn. So, it's basically Harley Quinn, Birds of Prey. I've not seen this one yet, but it is going to be prioritized because I have been waiting to see this for so long, and so I'm happy to have this one. And the slipcover is gorgeous. So, again, super cheap. Glad I waited on it and didn't spend the $30 or whatever it was on you know, buying it new. Found it for $10 on 4K. So very happy to have Birds of Prey in the collection. If you guys watched my TBR and TBW video for the month of September, which I urge you to go check out, I started a new TBW game. And so it's just like all those TBR games that BookTube is obsessed with this year, myself included, but it's done for my to be watched list. So this is one that I talked about on there because it ended up coming up as a film to watch. So this is Days of Thunder with Tom Cruise. This was on sale for $11, brand new at Best Buy, so I ended up picking it up. I've not seen this one, but I hear it is Top Gun on land. And yeah, that's enough for me. I'm not admittedly a huge Top Gun fan, but I enjoy the world of NASCAR. I don't watch it a ton, but I like the idea of it and have watched it in the past. And so I think I will enjoy this one. I'll definitely be checking this one out in September. So check back at the end of the month to hear my thoughts on Days of Thunder. This is one that I actually watched recently because I read the novelization for it and then watched the movie for a second time. One that I didn't think I'd have in my collection at any point, but it was $10, so I added it. And this is the 2018 Halloween on 4K. And so the second time through, I liked this one a heck of a lot more than I did the first time. The first time I watched it, it ended up as my most disappointing film that I watched in 2019. But I have read the novelization. I know there are scenes in the novelization that really add to the story. And so they were cut out here. And so I really wanted to get this because I want to see those deleted scenes and see, kind of what they would have looked like instead of what they were in my head. And so happy to have this one. Now I have the, again, have the entire Halloween collection in my physical movie collection, which was the goal for buying this one. So Halloween from 2018, got it from Best Buy for $10. All right, so we got a couple catalog releases. This one is very cool. Look at that lenticular cover. It is amazing. This is Jaws on 4K. So this, of course, has been all the rage over, YouTube and film Twitter the past month because it is supposed to look immaculate. Unfortunately, my copy is still sealed. I have not opened it yet, but I will check this out very soon. So obviously, Jaws, I don't need to talk about. It's a wonderful film, and the 4K image on this is supposed to be one of the best out there. So cannot wait to check this one out on 4K. And this one, again, I grabbed it was on sale, went down to like $10, I think. Yeah, I got this one from Amazon for $10, which is a ridiculously good deal for how good this picture quality is supposed to be. So I'll let you know how it is when I get to it. All right, the very last one, and this is one that I've not seen, but it is just loaded to the brim with special features, and everyone's been talking about it again, and this is the Arrow video release of Flash Gordon on 4K. So take a look on the back there. Look at all those special features. Like, it is just packed, man. There is so much to dive into there if you're interested. And just the picture quality on this, I hear, is really great. So it's another one that I'm happy to have. And anytime I can add Arrow video to the collection, I am happy to do that. So this is just another one of those cheesy sci-fi fantasy films from the mid-70s that I've heard really fun things about. It's just a cult classic, which is right up my alley. So I am looking forward to checking this one out. So Flash Gordon on Arrow's 4K. All right, guys, and that is going to do it. I'm not going to try to hold anything up this time because there's just too much crap to hold. So you all saw it. It was a ton of stuff. Thank you if you made it this far. Thank you so much for sticking through it. I hope you guys enjoyed this one. Let me know down in the comments below, what did you pick up last month? Anything we're talking about? What should I prioritize here? That's always a good question for you guys. Let me know down in the comments below. I'd love to have more of a conversation with you guys down there. As always, if you guys did enjoy this video, please consider subscribing to Cinefessions here on YouTube. And if not, thank you anyway for watching this video. I really do appreciate that. All right, guys, so that's going to do it for today. I just want to say thank you all so much for watching, and I'll catch you next time.